Martin Nesbit, are we back? Are
Feels
we
that way,
back?
doesn't it, Jack? All of a sudden, it's not. Things are looking up.
2 wins in a week, 2 clean sheets, a clean sheet away at the league's highest scoring home team, I believe. I keep spreading this. Could be fake news, but I saw it in a tweet sometime. So, that's enough fact checking, isn't it?
I think it is right. Yeah, no, you're right. With a historically strong home record as well, like just in general. I mean, they would be with that scoring record, but yeah, no, it's not that bad. All of a sudden, the clouds are parting, the birds are singing.
It really feels that way. It really feels that way.
And then I don't know if you've just seen the newest breaking news, absolute breaking in the last few minutes.
I have. I mean, I have conflicted feelings. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
But I don't really. I'm happy about it. I just have silly, stupid, overthinking it feelings about it. Do you know what I mean? But what can you expect from a man that records most of his podcasts on his own? What went right for Spurs yesterday, Mark? Because I don't know if you saw. I think it was Nish Kinsella was saying to Ange after the game. So what happened to Angeball? Because you played almost kind of low block there, which I don't think is true at all. But we did play somewhat more. I don't know. It felt more I don't know. It felt more conservative purely because it looked like Spurs were in so much more control than we usually are, or at least have been for quite some time. I was honestly just blown away by it. I thought we were brilliant. Brentford a good side. Like Mbuemo's a great player, Wiss is a great player, Damsgaard, your boy's a great player. But we just nullified them pretty much, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And there were times where, we were sort of defending. I think if you're like being super critical, a little bit more. And, there was times where I was like, Sonny's got the ball, we could break here. And there was a few times where the break was on, where we didn't really go through with it. But I don't like, this is away at Brentford, to your point, literally how you opened it. We can very quickly get turned over if we open ourselves up too much. And this is what we've been screaming out from Ange, a little bit, like not to completely abandon his way of playing and his kind of his mentality and his style, but just to not completely go all out and just open ourselves up too much. So we still sat on possession for large parts of the game. We certainly weren't in a 6-back line. So we had, I think, equal amounts of big chances to Brentford. So I don't think it was a defensive performance as such. I feel like over the full 90 plus minutes, the possession was reasonably evenly split. So, and then you look into, and that's just looking at the face of it. Then you look into us having 4 fullbacks in defence. It's like, our second string goalkeeper who's only just joined us, and so on and so forth. And midfield that's still, Sarr is still feels like Bissouma's still kind of neither here nor there. So yeah, I think I think it was a really, really good performance. I was happy with it. Were there times where I was a little bit concerned? Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were. I haven't got the number of how many crosses Brentford put in, but it felt like a lot. And we did, like Miles did go a couple of times on corners as well. We know Brentford are really good with set pieces. So yeah, but it was a really solid. And then you see second half, like that glare of sunshine in Kinski's eyes, that was brutal.
I mean, like if we're going to be, not critical of us, but you could say this, the sun played a part in our first goal, right?
Yeah, so. Potentially. I mean, well,
it was a great ball.
Say that.
Great ball from
Janelt. I think the problem was more that Janelt was. I mean, he was stood with his back to Sonny. Like he was way more concerned with Bissouma.
He
Didn't do a
was
good job of that.
irritating me, man. The time he was on the pitch, he was doing that. He was doing that really irritating thing that players do when they're the aggressor in a situation, and then really, really overplay the what's going on? I don't know. He was my enemy for yesterday, mate. He was my enemy. I was distracted. Thankfully, our players didn't get distracted. I put out a tweet in the week basically saying, Ben Davies' contract's coming to an end at the end of this season. Some talk that there's maybe an option to extend or whatever. I simply put out just a tweet after that Europa League performance in which he was brilliant, I thought. Just saying, give this man another contract. And lots of people got very angry about it. And lots of people were like, yes, obviously do that. For a guy who's probably, a fourth... Now we've got Danso in as well. A fifth choice centre-back for Tottenham Hotspur. Solid player. I think is actually a lot better than people make out that he is. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? My point is, he was magnificent yesterday as well, I thought.
Yeah. No, I thought so. And I think... I'm happy Ange highlighted him alongside Gray, who deserves every bit of plaudits that he's getting.
Unbelievable.
He's getting a lot, but it's all deserved.
He's ridiculous, isn't he?
18 years old, mate.
Yeah.
He's a midfielder who has played most of his career at right back, who we're now putting at centre back in the Premier League and in Europe, game after game after game, and he keeps playing 90 plus minutes, and he's 18. He's less than half your age. It's mental.
I know. It's it's miserable.
Do you know what I mean? He's mental. He's up against men, like fully grown, huge adults. Men that in some cases almost could be his dad, certainly in the case of Jamie Vardy. But it's just mental. Anyway, we were talking about Ben Davies. Yeah, Ben Davies was massive. I thought he was huge. And I do not understand people who say we shouldn't be giving him another contract. It's just, those are just the people that would just use any excuse to put the club down, though. Like they lather themselves in criticisms of the club from anyone. They'll agree with, Gooners and Chelsea fans on criticisms of us. Like, those are the kind of fans. He was huge yesterday. 10 clearances, blocked shot, 2 interceptions. He was magnificent. And
his range of passing is seriously brilliant, I think, as well.
Say again?
His range of passing is seriously brilliant.
Yeah.
As well.
89% pass accuracy yesterday. And that's from a high volume as well, 55. So he's just a magnificent, not just a magnificent player. He's also really important for us because he is that players like Sonny is, but he is that connection to our club. He carries the Spurs DNA within him, and you do need players like that around the training ground, around the sort of, I don't know, just around the kids as well, like to guide them and to sort of introduce the club to them. And he's so calm and he's such a good guy and he speaks Danish. So, that's a bonus.
What?
He played in Denmark for years.
Did he?
Yeah, man, he's excellent. He used to always sit next to Ericsson on the planes out and practice his Danish. I don't know that his Danish is actually that good anymore. It's a while ago they played in Denmark, but yeah, he's just a total legend. Now that I've said that, you're going to just discount everything positive.
No. I wanted to ask you because I've been when I've been doing my Europa League talks, just whilst we're on the Denmark thing, is it Midtjylland? Is that the name of the team? Yes.
Yeah, almost. The D is silent at the end, but other than that, you've nailed it. Yeah,
Midtjylland, like that.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Thought it might be. Are they any good? Well, they do actually look quite good. I don't want to draw them.
They're all right. They've got a really good setup. Sorry?
Would you go to the away leg? Yeah.
Probably not. It's actually. They're not far from where my brother lives, so I could go reasonably easily. But yeah, no. I mean, look, they're. I think if we draw them, we'd have them in the round of 16, right? I think if they get through, probably Galatasaray. But that could be tricky, man. Like European, they're a tiny. I think their stadium is like 4,000 capacity or something like that.
Are they aggro?
I have no idea, but you'll Google it in the background, won't you?
I am.
It's
Midtjylland Ultras Oh yeah, tasty.
Well, mate, you say that. You still they are going to be loud. They're going to be singing the entire time. They're going to be shouting. They're going to be tossing flares.
I'm not taking the piss. I'm saying they are. They're tasty. You can see that they're an aggro club.
They are. Well, it's just fandom in Middle Europe. It's just different in Central Europe. They are loud, unlike how we're loud in little bursts here and there, little 30-second song, and then sit down again. So yeah, it wouldn't be an easy tie. It's the easier out of the teams we could be up against. Like I'd rather come up against them than Real Sociedad or Galatasaray. But yeah, it would be fun.
And then if we got Ben Davies there, he'll be able to shit out some more in Danish. That's it.
He would be.
Do you know what I mean? He'll be able to
listen into their tactics and stuff.
Give him a bit of needle. Did you see what we're talking about Archie Gray? Did you see what he had to say about Ben Davies after the game as well?
I didn't.
He didn't. He I think it was through the internal comms. I think it was Milesy talking to him, and he was just singing the praises of Ben Davies, just being like he's great to have next to me. He's a great bloke. He's really he's essentially making the point that he holds his hand, and he's great to learn from somebody that's been there and done it all, kind of thing. So I mean, we often look. I remember back in the day, like the name Nurin Nesbit might not ring around the halls of Tottenham Hotspur legends, but at the same time, for Ledley King, who is considered, a Tottenham legend, he's often spoken about how crucial it was to have an experienced centre-back like Nesbit playing alongside him when he was first coming out of the academy and playing in the first team. And I know Archie Gray is a wonderful player. He's clearly just very, very talented and has his head kind of screwed on, switched on, whatever way you want to look at it. But at the same time, he's still 18 years old. And I think having somebody like Ben Davies to work alongside, to learn from, isn't a bad thing. You could probably say that for any of the centre-backs, to be honest. I know people scoff at that. They'll scoff at the idea of somebody who's as imperious as Mickey van der Ven being able to take anything from somebody like Ben Davies. But they all seem to love him around the club. There's got to be a reason for that. So, whatever. I've done more than enough Ben Davies propaganda for a couple of days. Let's talk about. Let's do some more talking about Jed Spence. People. So I'm going to find the exact quote. Bear with me. I should be better prepared than this. But Jed Spence obviously had a very, very good day yesterday. He's had a very, very good time ever since he's come back into the fold for Spurs. We gave him a new contract at the start of the season, and many people, myself included, just anticipated that was a way of retaining value on him, on a decent-ish young player that we still might be able to get 10 mil or so for, instead of losing him for nothing. I would need to find the quote exactly, but basically Postecoglou said, I want to see if this is the one from yesterday. I found an Ange Postecoglou quote. Yeah, 2nd of Feb. So he said something to the effect that, he's been outstanding since he's come into the team. He's had to bide his time. We've needed Jed to be patient and mature a little bit, and I think he has. I've got no doubt that I'm trying to find. He basically, where is it? Why? These websites, honestly, like Express and Football London and everything, are the worst websites to try and navigate. I can't find this bloody quote. He basically said he's a great player for us to have until a doggy gets back. Right? Are we just looking into that a bit too much? I'm sure Ange can see that Jed Spence is probably the club's best win back at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Udogie will have a fight in his hands when he comes back.
What about Porro?
And well, this is the thing. A lot of people are saying that, and actually, he can play either side. We really don't have backup for either side. Although you would argue Gray is probably our backup on the right hand side, and he's I'd say not better and probably more suitable than having Davies as the left back cover. So I think he'll stay on the left for the time being. I think we would have potentially seen a few more substitutions for him, a few more starts on the right if that was the sort of more long-term idea. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, if you know, we don't, part of the problem that we've had with the doggy and why he's been injured so much because we've relied on him for every single game, which we shouldn't be. And it, you know, it's just touch wood. It's very fortunate we haven't had an injury to Porro yet because we would be in deep shit. I don't think it's something we should be worried about for sure. It's something that we'll tackle further down the line. And to your point, you know, if Porro does need a rest and we've started using Gray more in midfield, which I think is the long term idea, then yeah, for sure Spence could cover it right back. But he's just such an exciting player. I mean, I honestly, I think he's someone who further down his career. I know he's not young anymore; he's 24 now, right? But you know, he's someone who could transition into becoming more of a winger type because he's so strong on the ball. He's so, like, he completed all of his dribbles yesterday. I think he had the highest dribble success rate of anyone on the pitch. I think he had more complete dribbles than anyone else as well. Like he is so comfortable on the ball. I think if it wasn't an Ange Postecoglou fullback system, he would soon be looked upon as more of a winger, I think. Even though he's so good defensively. Now this season is now Salah, Mbumo and arguably Visceren as well, that he's kept completely under wraps. I mean, Mbumo yesterday, I think he had that one chance with that really long pass from Damsgaard, even though I'm pronouncing Danish people with an English accent, that he took beautifully, and he still got a shot off, but Spence was on him the whole time. Like, he's a really good defender as well. I love him so much. I think as well, like I said something in a group earlier today, I think something crucial that Spence has brought is this bit of edge, this kind of this confidence. I know Ange is ironically saying, "Oh, he needs to do a bit of maturing," but I think part of what's so good about Spence is he is bringing a little bit of edge. He is bringing a little bit of like "fuck you" attitude. Like he brings physicality. He brings confidence. He's not afraid to take a man on. And you don't see his head dropping if things don't come off. You don't see him get frustrated or just disappear a little bit. Something I think is amazing about, you know, again, very, very young, but Lucas Bergvall in midfield, I think has elements of that as well, that kind of innate confidence, which is something we do unfortunately lack a little bit. We talk a lot about mentality and how a lot of our players sometimes tend to fade a little bit or maybe disappear a little bit in matches. And I mean, even players like Maddison, right? If things aren't going his way, you sometimes go 20, 30 minutes. You're like, fuck, is Maddison even on the pitch still? Like,
yeah.
Because he kind of just fades a little bit, which you just don't get with Spence. And I love that. And we really need that, especially at a time like now we have so many injuries, but just in general as a team as well. I feel like we've lacked that since like the days of Dele and Bale and, you know, them lot.
I mean, Spence, when I look at it, like in terms of like for the position he's playing and anything, I can't see any clear weaknesses in his game whatsoever, which is quite astonishing. And you know, I don't really want to. I've moaned about it in the past, and right now I just want to keep the posy vibes, as they say. Sure. But it is quite startling, isn't it, that Spence it's taken this long for him to get some time in the team. But he is now, and we're all the better for it. I was really excited when we signed him. You know, when I saw kind of the compilations and all that type of stuff, him skinning kind of, you know, Arsenal in the FA Cup when he was playing for Forest, all that type of thing. I was buzzing that we'd got him in. And it is kind of laced with a sense of frustration that it's taken this long, but let's just look forwards, because I don't know. I just think he's. When I watch games like yesterday, he's one of those players that I actually like. I have to kind of wobble my head a bit and be like, is this for real? Like this guy is. He is unbelievable. Like, he's really, really, really good. And you expect him to sort of mess up here and there or do something kind of predictable. But he just doesn't seem to. He seems so comfortable in possession. He seems so comfortable defending, marking his players. You know, he had and I'm not just saying this to be kind of clickbaity and inflammatory. He had Salah in his pocket in the League Cup game a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's so tenacious as well. I think, and that will go a long way in this kind of Ange Postecoglou system. That really, I mean, look, if we're going to speak in kind of, you know, in loose terms, requires a lot of bollocks, doesn't it? Playing this type of football, you need those type of players that are going to get up in the face of the opposition, not be afraid to lose possession because they know they can win it back. They can then actually be of value when they have the ball because they know that our chances are at a premium, if you like. We're always kind of attacking in these waves and what have you. I don't know. I just think he's great, mate. I think he's. Am I getting too excited about him, or am I right to be kind of?
No,
you know,
I don't think. I don't think. No, I don't think you are. I think it's fair. And like, I mean, there's nothing like. What's the worst that could happen is people will come back and laugh at us now, but we're not laughing.
People
about
on the internet. People on the internet say mean things.
Yeah, it's true, and that does hurt. You know, I understand it, but no, like we're musing on some really, really good performances at a time where it's hard for us to find good performances, right? But like he has been excellent, and I don't see any signs of that abating. Like why would he stop all of a sudden with this? So, yeah, I just really, you know, we're gonna go. There's going to be a couple of moments through February where we get some of our players back. I don't think Udogie is actually back until late February. I don't think it's the first. There's like one batch of players coming back around sort of the Villa game, isn't there? And then there's another lot sort of around almost at the end. And I think Udogie is actually no, I don't know if there isn't even a. I don't know if there even is a return. Oh no, he is. He's supposed to be back around the Villa game. So let's see what happens. You know, it could be that Ange decides he needs Udogie to be shoved straight back in, and then Spence goes to the bench. But I can't see that. Like, why would you rush Udogie back when you've got Spence performing as well as he is? I think it will be and it should be a managed return for Udogie.
How good was that second goal, mate? Yesterday, is that
total football?
Is that Angeball coming back? Is you know, we're talking about Spurs being back? Is that Angeball peeking its head? Is that the turtle's head of Angeball? For
sure. No, I mean, it absolutely is. It's got all the hallmarks. You know, we played out from the back. It's first time touches. Every pass was forward. It was a box crashing midfielder who scored the goal as well. It was a winger that provided the assist. Yeah, it's as Angeball as it gets. It's such a good. I was jumping around like when the own goal went in. I was like, great, yeah, but that, you know, that's fine. And then at like 65 minutes, maybe even later than that, 70 minutes or something like that. I was like, okay, we could like shithouse a 1-0 win here, and it would be on an own goal. But you know, we all know the narrative after that, and blah blah blah. Ooh, and Postecoglou not out of the woods yet. Da da da. Pressure remains on the Spurs, man. Rah rah rah. Like, but that goal, I think, just changed the narrative completely. It was such a good goal, and then also like, and it had so many players involved, and all the players that you want to be involved, right? Like, you know, Son, who I thought was really good yesterday, by the way. I know he's come under criticism lately, but I thought he played really well. I thought he had energy up until he was chasing balls down. He was chasing the keeper down up until really late on. So,
yeah. There were a couple of times I thought, like, towards the end when it looked like he was just a bit old. But again, I'm not going to hold that against him. Do you know what I mean? When I'm just
played
like
the entire game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know he did, and he, you know, I just think. Do you know what I mean? That there's sometimes when you see that space open up in front of him, and you think, son of 5 years ago is like eating turf there. Yeah. But eating turf, man.
Eating turf.
I don't know where that came from. Just are you starting to dream at all about Anfield away, mate, or is it just? I mean, it's It's just so unfair. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's St James's Park away, you kind of like that's a tough game. Don't get me wrong, but but Anfield away in a semi-final, it's annoying, isn't it? It's an annoying one.
Yeah, it's not a good hunting ground for us. But I have to actually, I couldn't even find the last time we beat them. I think our best result is like 2022 when we drew there, and then it's more than sort of 6 years ago. So yeah, it will be tough. It will be tough. They don't. Yeah, I mean, mate, I'm going as well. So I fucking. The thing that I do kind of find a little bit of solace in is the fact that we are carrying the 1-0 into that game. Like they do need to come at us more than the other way around. And we have got it. Like we have got it in us to beat them. We already did it once, but it was at home. It's fine. It was only 1-0, but still, we can definitely. Can we do it? Yes, we absolutely can. We've just got to play them cleverly. We've just got to be smart about it.
The thing is, I know the temptation is always to say, well, they're a proper club, they're a real club, and they try to win everything, right? But I think we can also probably say they might have a little preoccupation with having bigger fish to fry this season. Like they should, fingers crossed, everything crossed, win the Premier League this year. And they will know that Arsenal are ready to pounce. If it looks like Liverpool's form starts to wobble a bit, I reckon they could probably be forgiven for maybe. I don't think he'll rest any. I don't think he'll rest any players against us.
No chance.
I was about to say that, but he won't.
No.
And I think that kind of is the difference between clubs of their size. For them, they might be more inclined to rest it. I think for them, the funny thing is, right, I think for a club like Liverpool, and this is kind of the annoying thing, this is the annoying thing being Tottenham, really, is that for clubs like Liverpool, it's almost worse to lose a game to a team like Spurs than it would be for, say, whoever. Yeah, if they drew Sheffield United, if Sheffield United went on a cup run and somehow turned them over at Anfield, it's easier for them to say, like, these things happen. It's not ideal, but these things kind of happen. But Spurs, we always sort of occupy that position where teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, whoever are like, well, we've got to beat Spurs. Like, you should be beating Tottenham if you're in a quarter-final. So it feels like more of a statement in a way, doesn't it? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's yeah, and you're right. They're definitely not. They've got Plymouth on the 9th. Yes, it's away, but we've got Villa away. And they've got the Merseyside derby, I think, a few days after that. So, the hope is that he may be. And Everton, they've won their last 2 games under Moisey. Yeah. Two good games as well. So it's yeah. I think, but I don't. Realistically, I don't think he's going to play any much a weakened side at all. But yeah, but we are a big scalp, and we, especially for like lower level sides, but literally for everyone, we're like an annoying. We're annoying in that way. Like
it's
we're a
weird,
scalp
though,
for
isn't
everyone. It? Yeah, no, we are, and we're a very, for no apparent reason, obviously, quite a.
Were you triggered by that?
Well.
Were you triggered by Sky Sports yesterday? As triggered as I was, because I found it, and I found it increasingly kind of beyond the pale, the way in which our games and the way in which the punditry covers us, to the degree where I do kind of think, like, I know people will say, well, get over it, it's just kind of what their job is, but I don't think it is. I think they start to go past that a bit. When you got Jamie Carragher making Dr. Tottenham jokes at half time when Spurs have just played brilliantly, I do kind of think, fuck off. Really? Is that Is that where punditry's at now? Like trying to simp for like, for Twitter likes and all that type of stuff. It's a bit, I don't know.
So it's all backfiring on him now. Like he was sitting there going, "Oh, I can't see Spurs conceding less than 3 here." Like and here we are, 90 minutes later with a 2-0 win. Like it, and he's getting ripped a new one online for that today, rightly so. But you're right, it's disrespectful for one of the founding clubs of the Premier League. Like that's like fucked up. Like you can't sit there and make Dr. Tottenham jokes, but also just sit there and just willfully sort of slag us off and write us off. But he's got form for that though, doesn't he? I see him putting his 2p in about Levy and about Ange and about everything. So yeah, it. I guess sometimes it comes with the territory, and we're an easy target at the moment because we're now 14th, aren't we? But we were 16th. So I get it, but like, come on, mate.
Do you see?
You're a pundit most known for spitting at a kid. Like, have some pride in yourself.
People forget that, don't they? Do you see Flav give him a bit on the overlap? The clip that's doing the rounds. It's quite good. That I was.
Yeah.
It's quite proud of Gal for that. So.
I know he always does well. Mate, I would crumble if I was ever sent on one of those.
Miserable.
I would not have the chat for any of it.
Nah, none of the. The kind of like go on an opposition channel and have some. Do you know what I mean? Joust with someone on AFTV. Not for me, mate. Not for me.
Not for me. I'm just I wouldn't do I wouldn't do us justice. Let's put it that way. I'd come away like crying.
Probably just end up agreeing with most of the negative things that the opposition was saying, and then everyone get angry at me again.
That's like the worst you could do as well. You're not even like giving a shit counter argument. Just like, you're probably right, actually.
Yeah, you're right, troops, mate. Yeah, we are a dead club, mate. Nice one.
Thanks for having me on anyway.
Yeah, cheers. Please give us a follow, mate.
Give us a follow. Do I know my Twitter handle?
Oh, God. Do you, does the thought of, Newcastle will hopefully have that one wrapped up, but Arsenal are quite good at the moment. Does the thought of playing Arsenal in a cup final, League Cup final, let's be specific about it, playing Arsenal in the League Cup final, does that fill you with dread, or do you get a little tickle in the pickle about the thought of the type of history that could be made there in terms of beating Arsenal in a cup final?
No, it makes me sick. I couldn't. The thought crossed my mind yesterday, and I immediately had to go upstairs and pretend like I'd gone to the toilet, but I just went and sat in the bedroom with the lights switched off for a minute.
Just had a little sit down.
Oh, I hate a North London derby on the best of days. So no, I couldn't think of anything worse, to be honest with you. The pressure's just too much. Like it, and it would just give him so much ammunition for just coming at us left, right, and centre. And they've got enough at the moment. But I really hope that doesn't happen. But it could happen. I could absolutely see us going to Anfield in a few days and just shithousing a 1-1 or a 2-2 draws. I don't think it's going to be goalless, and then we'd scrape it through on that, and then Arsenal shithouse Newcastle, and then it would. The media would love it, the internet would love it, but I don't know. It's kind of it's my little ginger heart couldn't take it. I don't think.
There's just that little bit of me, and the reason why I had that specificity on it being the League Cup is that
your eyes when you said specificity.
Is that I
farted and sniffed it.
I felt that I do feel that if you lose, it's not good. Don't get me wrong. Right, it's miserable. But if you lose a League Cup final to Arsenal, it's just a League Cup. What are you lot getting all excited about? We're getting all excited about. But if you win it, totally be a hypocrite about it. I couldn't care less, you're a hypocrite, it's ecstasy, it's glory. Like it's one of the greatest days. It's one of the greatest days. What I mean is, I think the pro, for me anyway, I'm saying the pro far outweighs the con, because the con is Arsenal won and that's crap, but it's only a League Cup. Oh well, do you know what I mean? Like, oh well.
I think it's I see that, and I think I might be too emotional. I don't think I'd be able to get over the fact that we lost enough to like banter like that. But maybe that's just me. Like, I would rather Arsenal lose out on something than that we win something. Does that make sense? I so that also kind of weighs in on it. I mean, mate, but you're right. Like, for us to win our first trophy since 2008, I mean, it'd be ironic there would be another League Cup. But to win it by beating Arsenal, whew, like, that is the stuff of dreams. Like,
I mean, like, by beating Arsenal, it's almost. I mean, you can't kind of capture the emotion of something like Ajax to compare it. But if there's going to be something that's potentially going to rival Ajax, is a Big Daddy Ben Davies 93rd minute header to win it against Arsenal, mate. That's just. Oh. I think I'd die right there on the spot. I'd get a statue. You have to build a statue outside the stadium. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
If Levy doesn't want to commission it or not, we'll do it by citizen statue building. That's what we'll do. We'll drop one in.
Dust and rubber bands.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's just have them. Right, you said so. We've signed Kevin Danso.
Yep.
Quite excited about him. I've watched one compilation. I will say up front, I've watched one compilation of Kevin Danso, but he seems very much an Ange Postecoglou centre-back. Quick, strong, good at recovery challenges, pretty decent in the air. Basically everything that nearly Radu Dragusin is not. I know it's a bit harsh, isn't it? Any concerns for you that he's 26 years old? Nobody's really been asked about him to this point?
No, not really. I mean, no one, when we signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, everyone was laughing at us. Like, there are players out there who aren't rated at their current clubs all the time, who just need to join the right club in the right circumstances and have the right setup around them to shine. So no, I'm not concerned about that at all. Centre-backs also, although caveat is that there are a lot of young, very, very good centre-backs out there at the moment. Like Kuzanov, who's just signed for City, is very hot on the scene in that. But more historically, centre-backs didn't used to really sort of start to really come into their own until slightly later in the sort of mid-20s. So no, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about his age. I'm not worried about his profile. I think in a lot of ways, I think he's got. There's a lot for us to work with there. I saw someone saying that he counts as homegrown because of his time in England, his time through English academies, speaks the language, has played in Europe and has played over here. Like I think everything is good on paper. And to your point, his attributes and his physical sort of stature points to someone that could really make a difference for us as well. And yes, he seems to suit the system more than Radu Dragusin arguably does. So yeah, and it's like it's low risk as well. Like, it's a buy with an obligation. We're only covering his wages. He's only on 25,000 a week. So it's literally as low risk as you could possibly. It's a complete no-brainer, and he seems like he's eager. Like, he wants to play for us. Obviously we gazumped Wolves to his signing, so Wolves who do make very good signings. So yeah, like, I'm super positive about it, and I haven't really heard anything negative, which is quite wild because normally there's people up now.
It surprised me because I had no idea about his time in England or anything, so I just saw his club interview and he's like, "Right, mate, yeah, how you doing?" Like, just an English bloke by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
He apparently played with Delhi as well in Milton Keynes, which I quite like. They play together in the academy, so I think they both. I think their time overlaps.
There's similar age, so yeah.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And obviously Matthis Tel, just literally basically before we started recording this, Matthis Tel is on his way to London. The club are basically bringing him in for a loan spell. My sort of conflicted feeling is just a ridiculous kind of, why are we trying to convince if a 19-year-old doesn't want to join us, why should we kind of, whatever. But whatever, he's highly rated by a lot of people. And word has it that Ange Postecoglou has been the crucial factor in this deal. Ange has been on the blower and outlined exactly what it is that he expects from Tel, how he'll be using him to get the best out of him and his attributes, if you like, which is really good, isn't it? Like it's really kind of, it's a big win for the pro Ange Postecoglou camp, if you like.
No, it is, and mate, I'll come to that in a second. It definitely, actually no, fuck it, I'll do it now. Absolutely, I thought the same as well. It's so positive for so many reasons. A, that he's I'm sure he can ring up people if he wants to. Doesn't have to have Levy's okay, but he would have to go through the right channels to get directly to Tel to have a call with him. So the club are clearly behind Ange in this, and it does beg the question: why could Langer and Levy not get this across to him? But if it's Ange himself with his style and with his background, his context and all that sort of stuff, sitting there explaining the vision, obviously that's going to resonate far better than Levy, who's dead inside, and Langer, who's a stupid hurdy. So I do get it, and I think it's I think it's super positive. Paul Merson was saying what you were just saying, not to draw comparisons, but he was saying what you were saying yesterday, that fans aren't going to want him now that he's quote unquote rejected Spurs and rah, there's no way back. But I don't see that at all. He just needed someone else to explain the vision to him, and it's only a 6-month loan. There's no obligation, there's no option. From what we're hearing, I guess it could still change, but again, I think it's a great move. I think it's definitely something we need. People will argue that outside of Solanke, we've got our other two, main attackers fit, but Son hasn't had a rest all season. He hasn't had a rest for about 10 years. He needs someone there that can rotate with him, and he can play centre forward as well. So he can play on the right as well if we need to. So I think it's a no-brainer, and I hope he does really well. I'm sure he will.
Is it because I see a lot of people describe him as generational and everything like that, and I know people can be flippant online. I most of all know that. Is he as far as you're aware, Mark? Is he top drawer though? Is this lad's could this be a bit of a game changer for us at least until the end of the season anyway? Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you could put him into the bracket of a Lamine Yamal or someone like that, but he's he is a world-class talent, and he's still only 19. He's still got development to come, so he needs to play. I'm sure, which is part of why he wants to come, because Ange's obviously promising some things. But no, he is world-class. He could be an outstanding. He could be in that top bracket if he plays his cards right in terms of what club he's at. If he has the right manager there to guide him, the right people around him as well, gets the right advice from his agents and things like that, he could be there. He's got everything there. He is an all-round attacker. He's got everything you want: pace, physicality, creativity. He's got the footballing brain as well that you need. He's really good at finding pockets. So everything is there for him, and I think I don't mind that he, for whatever reason, he's not getting the time at Bayern this season. He's got Kane and Michael Olise in front of him. I do get it. It's just a situation that's arisen, not from his own doing, and not anyone's fault. No one's done anything malicious. He needs to go somewhere else for at least 6 months and hopefully more. I definitely think we could be that club for him, and if that ends up happening, just to have him change his mind to start with and to want to come, is a big enough scoop on its own. If we manage to buy him, we could absolutely have a world class player on our hands here, without doubt.
What if he comes and he's really good for us for half a season, and then Arsenal buy him in summer?
Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? In my head, I'm like, he'll stay for 6 months, and then Elisa will go to PSG or something like that, and Tel will go back and become amazing. But I hadn't even thought of that. That's terrible.
Paul O'Keefe's saying he turned down Man United, and the same deal. Turned down a loan to United and came here because of Ange Postecoglou. I mean, that's pretty good. For the likes of me that's been saying, maybe we should get rid of Ange now. It does make me think, fair play to the big man. Like he's obviously got something going for him. That sounds derisive. You know what I'm saying? He's got one thing going for him at least.
Is he still? I don't know. Mate. And listen, it's not just the player. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he's not sat on a on a FaceTime, which is he's definitely sat on a FaceTime with the player. But there's other people involved as well. He's got to convince agents and all sorts of other people as well. Like this is a big deal. And Matthis Tel isn't he's not a 28-year-old journeyman. Like he's a world-class talent. He's played at international level all throughout the ranks. He's absolutely, he is potentially a megastar. So this is a big deal. And the fact that he's made him, because he's also not stupid. He knows what this looks like, Matthis Tel. He was supposedly a day ago, he was happy enough to go back to Bayern Munich and potentially sit on the bench and maybe do another 10, 12 appearances this season. But he's at Bayern Munich, but he wants to play football. He wants to play in a surrounding and for a manager that he believes in him and wants him to succeed. And Ange has managed to get that across to him. And man, that's huge for someone who's been getting as much shit as Ange has as well.
Yeah.
For him to want to do that. He was getting cussed out 3-4 games ago.
I mean, I know he has these last flaps, and I think him going out and he's often getting sort of aggy with people in the crowd and stuff, which I think he probably needs to turn that stuff in a bit. But it's hard to imagine the sort of pressure that he's under. And I think I don't know, just a game like that, like the Brentford game yesterday. It's massive. It's massive in the whole kind of makeup of this. It's massive in the context that, like you say, pretty much every press conference and just been in for the last month or so now is, so do you reckon you're going to get sacked then, mate? Do you reckon you're going to get sacked? And they're all quite gleeful with it. I don't know, maybe it's this kind of brusqueness that's rubbed people up the wrong way, but they do kind of seem to be out for him at the moment, don't they, a bit, the journos, I think. But he's handling it pretty well. That's one thing I will give Ange. I think he's handled this really, really difficult patch really quite well. I mean, Antonio Conte lost his arse for far less than this, and really, I mean, as much as whatever anybody wants to say about Tottenham and about Conte was right or this or that was embarrassing for Conte, I think. On a personal level, that made me think of him as just like a bloke and as a professional. That's a bit pathetic of you, mate. Like, I think we can all say, yeah, right, we're not all Premier League managers and stuff, but we all in our own way probably have moments of stress and whatever in the workplace, and you don't react in the way that Conte did. And I think Ange has done very well to kind of keep it together. You even had that broadcast moose having a bit of a pop at him the other day, and Ange managed to sort of bring it around and turn it into a bit of a gag. I don't want to end on on a really sort of negative note, but I do think we've got to really talk about the fact that it's the last day of the transfer window now, and Spurs have apparently lodged a bid, £70 million bid for Mark Gay from Crystal Palace. Palace have obviously turned it down. He's one of their best players. He's their best defender. They say that they absolutely don't have the time to replace their club captain and best defender on the last day of the window like that. We've obviously had some sort of a panic in really, I don't know, pleading with Tel to come. I guess we'd probably thought when Bayern accepted the bid that we were probably going to get him, and I think it probably became a bit of an embarrassment for Spurs that he publicly rejected the chairman who had gone out to speak to him. Do you feel somewhat aggrieved by the fact that yet again, though, even though we are getting the deals in, we are getting a couple of transfers in, which is good, yet again, this is happening in the last few days of the window when more than any other time I can at least recall immediately, Spurs have been desperate for players. Spurs have been desperate to get players through the door. Do you find it annoying as well that it's taken this long for us to seemingly snap into action?
Yeah. No, I think the short answer is yes. I think it's fair as well because we arguably knew about some of the shortcomings that we're trying to cover for even after the summer transfer window, right? Like we knew that Ange wanted another forward option, not necessarily a striker or a winger, or like just another forward option. We knew he wanted that. I think it was clear as well we wanted a left-sided centre-back / full-back or someone who could, I mean, in an ideal world, someone who could fit in on both sides, and we don't really have that yet. We're still lacking full-back cover. So yeah, for sure. I think those arguments are valid still. Now the thing with that is that both of those are potentially quite expensive. They'd have to be very well researched, and they aren't necessarily your key January signings. January tends to be more about covering for injuries and suspensions and all that sort of stuff, or if you're selling a player. So I don't know whether the long-term plan was ever to cover those positions in the January transfer window. It might have been that was, set forward to the next summer, to summer 25. My biggest issue actually with this window is fullback cover still looks very, very tight. But also I've been screaming out fullback since the summer and during the summer transfer window, but also just a six. We do not. Like Bissouma was better yesterday. I saw more edge. I saw more physicality. Yeah. I saw more snapping into tackles. I saw more of what I want him to be, that combative six who's,
Just when it seems like he's acting like a serious footballer. He's so talented when he is in that mode, right?
Yeah. I don't know why. Yeah. So, but there's something there. I don't know. We'll probably never find out. But my big thing is we are desperate for a six. But then I look around us, right? Like it is well documented that City's downfall, quote unquote, this season is more or less down to Rodri's long-term injury, right? City are now scrambling around to buy Nico Gonzalez. At the very end, the last day of the transfer window, literally the player who supposedly is going to transform their window. Like, why are they doing that as well? One of the biggest clubs in the world, etc. So it's not like. It is quite common in the January window to leave a lot of your transfer business towards the end because you're more likely to get a little bit of panic in the selling club. You're more likely to potentially get the deal across the line at the price that you want it. And also, there's so many European competitions that are still going and cup competitions in various leagues around the market. So players, and clubs. Want to stretch it as far as they can to see what's happening. I thought apparently the 70 mil bid for Gay came sort of earlier in the weekend. It wasn't. It was sort of again apparently sidelined with the Danso bids and so on. But I mean 70 mil is I think that's a good price. I know Newcastle were bidding similar to that in the summer, weren't they? But yeah, it's tricky what Pala's going to do. How are they going to replace it? They've already had Chalobah been sent back to Chelsea, so that was never really going to happen. But at least it signals intent. There's some people out there with their already putting together their little tinfoil hats and putting them on, saying that half of these bids are only because Levy is trying to clear his name to the fans and that they're just bogus bids, which is obviously.
I do kind of think that a little bit. I can't help
nonsense.
it. I can't help it.
This is $1 billion business. He's not going, oh, I know what will make the fans happy. I know what will make
we're a
Dave and
billion-dollar
Al not
business.
sing at me and throw black balloons with my name on it at
We're a
me.
billion-dollar business that aren't that ridiculous.
I'll go
though.
out and bid 70 million for a player. And what happens if it comes off? I won't come off. It's fine. Like basically doing a deal on the basis of it won't happen. Don't worry.
Yeah, but his business is calculated risk, isn't it? You know, and I think in this instance, the risk was them actually saying yes.
And him being stuck on 70 mil.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I mean, the counter argument is to that. Well, yeah, then you'd have a 70 mil, arguably the best English centre back right now, right? Like, but I don't know. I think it's wild. But anyway, it's a good story. It's funny.
You know, while we're talking, it seems to be there's a bit of I guess ITK, if you like, there's a bit of chat that there might be an option to buy on Tel. By the way, more on this as it comes. Who knows? But it might be. It's looking a bit It's looking a bit trust me, bro, at the moment.
Trust me, bro. I think. Do you know what? So, I mean, again, I'm not. This isn't ending on a. I think Matthis Tel. I think if I'm really happy with signing him because we need strength up front. It isn't. If you'd asked me by the start, like on the 1st of January, where do you want to strengthen as a priority? I wouldn't have said forward. It wouldn't have. It would probably have been my third option. Probably fourth. Actually, I would have gone defensive mid, fullback, centre back, and then forward option. I'm happy we're getting him because he could be absolutely world class, and it's low risk. It's a loan with an option, if it's even an option. But I guess the only thing is I don't want it to. It can't stunt the development of Mikey Moore for one. Like that absolutely cannot happen. That would be catastrophic for our club. But then that's really it. That's the only sort of but I would have in there about this deal.
Apparently, he didn't turn down Manchester United. By the way, they were actually his preference, but ended up not following through on the deal.
That's
well.
It's annoying, isn't it? It's just, that just tinges a little bit. Actually,
Yeah,
send him
doesn't
back.
it?
I don't want him.
Do you want to send him back?
Yeah, I reckon we just leave the jet in the airport, and we just don't come pick him up.
It won't be a jet, mate. It'll be Ryanair that he'll be flying over. It might be a Jet 2 holiday that plane that he's on that
Chartered. Yeah.
Levy's managed to get him on.
And it won't be into London either. It'll be into like
Luton
International or something like that. Yeah.
It'll be Luton. He'll have an expense allowance of one tube of Pringles, the little mini tubes of Pringles that you get on planes.
And there'll be an off-peak train ticket to come down to London as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be the express. The expressway to London is standard.
It's the one that stops 2,500 places.
National Express coach. Welcome to Tottenham, kid. You have to, whatever. I don't know. We're stretching this one. Mark Nesbit, appreciate your time, mate.
Pleasure as always, mate.
What's your prediction for Liverpool? What's your feeling? Is your feeling that Spurs can continue this and we can get the job done and get to Wembley? Spurs are on their way to Wembley.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do it. I am feeling it. I would love a win, like a shitty 1-0. But I'd be all right with the draw as well, mate. Be fine.
If we do it, will you run around the streets of Liverpool with your manhood hanging out?
Oh, it'd be like a Ken doll just running around. It wouldn't be a good sight. Like a slightly overweight, really skinny legs, very hairy ginger Ken doll. It's not good.
God, you speak so highly of yourself, mate. You know, this is.
Hey, mate, it's 40 years of having other people tell me that. So. Oh, see.
I'll add in an crowd noise here now. Get the violins playing, all of that. Mark, thank you very much, mate. We're going to do Liverpool. I'm glad to hear you say that. Matthis Tel is going to go on and win the Golden Boot in half a season at Tottenham Hotspur, and then he's going to sign for Spurs for £12 million. We'll all live happily ever after by winning the league next year. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.